In this video, I'm going to work some problems from section 2.6. And section 2.6 is working with formula. So in the first problem, it has a formula and it asks us to find H when V equals 678.24 and R equals 6. So this is the formula for the volume of a cylinder, this kind of shape. So in the instructions, it also said round any decimal answers to the nearest hundredth. And I know that when I'm working with the value pi, since pi is a number that goes on as an infinitely long number, I know I'm going to end up having to round my answer. So they've given me values for V and R, so I'm going to take my original equation and in for V, I'll put 678.24. Then I have equals, I have pi. And for R, I'm going to put 6. So I have 6 squared, R squared, and then H. So now I have 678.24. Let's see. 6 times 6 is 36. So I have 36, and I have a pi, and I have an H. I'm trying to solve for H. Right now I have 36 times pi times H. So I want to get rid of this 36 times pi. Since it's being multiplied by the H, to eliminate it, I'd have to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 36 pi. On the right-hand side, it'll just cancel and I'll get H. On the left-hand side, I'm going to get the answer to my problem. So I'm going to enter that into my calculator. So just to kind of look at how I would do that, I have, see where I can get it so you can see it. I'll put in 678.24. And I'm going to divide that by 36. Okay, there's the answer if I divide by 36, but I also want to divide it by pi. So I'm just kind of doing 2 steps here. So now I'm going to divide it by. And if I just hit divide by, it'll bring up that answer and say I'm going to divide it by, and I want to get the value for pi. So there's a button on your calculator for pi. Sometimes you might have used a rounded value like 3.14, but since we have this button, we're going to use it. To access it, since it's a little printed above here, I have to push the second key. So I push second, and then the button that has pi above it, it'll bring the pi in, and I hit enter. And my answer is 5.9969. It keeps going. Round to the nearest hundredth. Here's the hundredth spot. I look to the digit to the right, which is 6, so that would tell me to round up. So I'd end up with 6.00 equals H. Normally we'd have some units on this, like it'd be in inches or feet. They didn't give us any units though, so we'll just have to leave that answer unitless. Let's look at number 29. Similar problem, it says find W when B equals 24 and H equals 61. This is called the body mass index formula. So I'm going to plug in the value they gave me for B, which was 24. I have 703 times W, and in for H is 61. And that's 61 squared, H squared. So I get 24 equals 703 W. 61 squared is 61 times 61, which is 3721. So at this point, I have 24 equals 703 over 3721 W. So the coefficient of W is really this fraction. And to eliminate a fractional coefficient, I can multiply both sides by the reciprocal of that fraction. On the right-hand side, everything cancels out, and I just get W. On the left-hand side, I'll have to go 3721 times 24 divided by 703. 3721 times 24 divided by 703. When I do that, I'll get W equals 127, and then I put 0.03. Okay, so on my calculator, it looked like 3721 times 24 divided by 703. Okay. Let's look at problem number 37. It has a formula for changing from Fahrenheit to Celsius, and it said find the Celsius temperature when Fahrenheit temperature is 50 degrees. So I have 5/9, and for Fahrenheit I'm going to put a 50, and I have minus 32. So if I'm working at this right hand side, order of operations says I'll work inside parentheses first. So I have 5/9 times 5/9 times 50 minus 32, 18. And now I can multiply 5/9 times 18, do some canceling, and I'll get C equals 5 times 2, or 10 degrees. Okay, the last two ones I'm going to do here are looking at problems 57 and 61, and in this kind of problem, I guess I was going to do 3. 57, 61, 63. In this problem, there's no values given. We're just going to rearrange the equations using our same rules for solving so that we can isolate one of the variables. So I want to solve this y equals mx plus b for b. So I'd say, well, if I want to get b by itself, just like before I cover up the thing I want to get by itself, I need to get rid of this entire term. To get rid of a term, I would, use my addition property of equality. And it's a positive term, so I'd have to actually subtract mx from both sides. And I would get b equals y minus mx. And I just stop there. As long as I've gotten b by itself, that's all they're asking me to do in those problems. So my next problem says ax plus by plus c equals 0, and I want to solve that for y. So here's my y. I want to keep this term, to keep the y, and get rid of the other terms. Since they're both being added, I'm going to subtract each of them. And I could do that in one step, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it in 2 steps. So first I subtracted the ax term from both sides. I get by plus c. 0 minus ax is just a negative ax. I'm trying to get y by itself, so I cover that up and get rid of the other term I don't want, which is c. So I have by equals, these are not like terms, so I just have to write negative ax minus c. There's nothing else I can do there. And finally, to get y by itself, it has a coefficient of b, so I divide both sides by b. And I'll get y equals negative ax minus c over b. So there's no numbers in here, I'm just rearranging. We'll try one more. I'm sorry, that ran off the page. There you go. Try one more of those, and this is v equals 1/3 pi r squared h. Again, we did a problem up at the start, number 27, where we put values in, but this time I don't have any values. I'm just going to go ahead and solve for h. So I have h is the variable I want to solve for. I have a 1/3 here and pi r squared. So when I first start this, I might think, well, I have this one fraction, so maybe I could multiply both sides by the denominator by 3 and clear fractions. So I might choose to do that first. My 3's cancel, and I get 3v equals pi r squared h. I'm trying to get h by itself. Is hooked to the other parts here by multiplication, the pi and the r squared. So to undo multiplication, I would divide. So I divide both sides by pi r squared. And I end up with just h equals 3v over pi r squared.